quicker is D'Angelo? I mean, a lot of freshmen have trouble. I remember Evan had a lot of problems with turnovers his freshman year. How quickly is D'Angelo kind of adapted to this style of play at the college level where he's been able to control things and cut down the bad stuff and improve the good stuff?
You know, I think he's showing great poise in terms of his pace, in terms of just how he reads things. You know, he gets an outlet pass and he immediately scans options, and you know, a lot of guys are more like, okay, I got the ball, let me dribble. You know, he just sort of, there's a natural flow for him. But I've been very impressed with how he's not only adapted and improved throughout the course, but just how he's playing better and better every time he takes the floor, which is pretty impressive as a freshman.
I don't know if the mic's back. I think I talk loud enough you can hear. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead, Bob.
I guess for me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Everybody's so kind in here
I don't
today.
know. I didn't know if we were calling. We had a connection there, Coach. He's pretty impressive, D'Angelo. He was in here, and we were asking him about all of the stuff that's coming his way, and there's a ton of it. And I remember asking you last week about him, kind of National Player of the Year conversation. He's putting up those numbers. Did you think he would be what he's been, this good and this dominant of a player, one of the most dominant players in the league in the country, and just the way he's handled all of the accolades that have come his way?
I thought he was going to be pretty good. I honestly did. I thought that, from the first time I ever saw him play and just watching him play, I remember kind of going back to Rusty's question, last year watching him in the national championship game in Madison Square Garden against Oak Hill, and they were up and Oak Hill jumped into a press, and he kind of made a mockery of it just in terms of how he broke it and, looking guys off and throwing it over. And I'm kind of like, gosh, that kid gets it. And I was watching it on television. But I think from the standpoint of how he's handled it, it's a tribute to him. It's a tribute to his mom and dad. And every time I ran into his dad, I hadn't talked to him in a while. And the other night after the game, and all he was concerned about is how he's doing academically, and is he doing all the right things? Is he saying please and thank you? And it's like, wow, which is a tribute to him. But I think from the standpoint of just how he comes in every day and wants advantages. Last night we had a lengthy film session, and he probably asked the most questions in terms of what we were trying to get accomplished. So, from that perspective, I think it's pretty impressive for him. And I haven't had to sit him down and talk to him or anything. He gets it.
One real quick follow-up with that, if you don't mind. I remember asking about this when you had Jared, and you had him, obviously, at Jared for 2, which worked out great. He's not ready to make any decision yet. We can all kind of read what we hear. You see the football guys, they have to be here 3 years. Do you think basketball, you've been in this for a while now, this one and done thing, you were one of the first guys who was really affected by it. Does basketball have it right with the way that this is done now?
I don't know. Somebody texted me after the game the other night and said he's pretty good, and I said, can you imagine what it's going to be like when he's a senior? And so, I don't know, Bo. I think from the standpoint of I'm one of these guys that is a realist in terms of for basketball players, their bodies are their tickets, and the sooner they can do that, because you don't know how long it's going to last. I'm kind of in favor for it. Is it 1, 2? I've never really had a definitive answer in terms of what's right or what's wrong. But I do think that it's America, and if kids can go on and chase their dreams, I'm kind of for it for them.
Coach, anything new on Mark? I happened to kind of bump into him on the way in today, and the conversation turned to his return, and he said possibly this weekend, maybe, I don't really know. Do you know?
I don't know, but I know he's not going to play tomorrow night. So I'm hoping sooner than later, but like I said, he's doing everything. He's doing extra. In terms of not playing in the games, we're doing more with him. So hopefully he doesn't miss a step when we do get him back.
Maybe Michigan State?
Maybe Michigan State, yes.
Real quick off of that, it wasn't what I was going to ask, but when did you how far before the Purdue game did you find out he was suspended?
I'm trying to think here.
You had to buy that weekend after
Yeah.
Maryland on Thursday, but Purdue on Wednesday.
I don't even know what day it is today. Tuesday the 10th. I think it was Friday or Saturday. I can't remember because didn't we play that Thursday?
Maryland on Thursday.
Yeah, he
So
wasn't
Friday
bad
or
that
Saturday.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was either Friday or Saturday, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want, you said on your radio show last night that these guys have kind of proven that they need to have their feet held to the fire, and which you probably do with every team, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But have you had to come up with any new ways? Now, I mean, you've won 4 out of your last 5, lose by 2 points. Have you, I don't know, changed anything to try to make sure that their feet are to the fire?
Maybe just a couple things different in practice in terms of not so much the structure of practice, but a little bit more competitive in practice. I thought Saturday was maybe the most competitive practice we've had in a long, long time in terms of what we were doing, and hopefully it'll be the same way as we take the court here in a few minutes. That's what we're after, and haven't. We didn't go in and shoot Saturday night at Rutgers. That was a huge decision for me. Do we go in and shoot? Do we not go in and shoot? But nothing, too drastic.
As far as making practice more competitive, are there ways? How are you doing that besides running up and down the court playing?
Score, shortening the shot clock, keeping score, moving teams around. Shortening the segments, but intensifying the segments, if that make it kind of hard to explain, but trying to get our pace a little bit better.
Halftime, I think you had 39 of your 44 points were from the 4 freshmen, and you got a lot more out of Bates Diop, a lot more out of Cam Williams. Tate's continuing to play pretty well, and Russell's doing his thing. They get 17, 6, and 6 at halftime or something like that. Just how important is it for those guys as a group, but particularly Cam and Kata to add into what you guys are getting?
Well, I thought Kata was kind of primed to play well. We felt like Cam could have a really good game matchup-wise against Rutgers. But those guys, I'm excited how they're playing for this part of the season, and obviously the more the merrier in terms of that. I think that from where they are as freshmen and the strides that they're making, very, very pleased with what they're doing right now, and hopefully they can continue that. We need them to.
Penn State, do you have to, you got a bunch of new guys here, but do you have to mention last year to the seniors? Do they know it? Is that
No, they do know it, yeah. I think from the fact that they beat us twice last year is something that, and we hadn't lost to them before that. And, obviously it was 2 down to the wire games. They hit a last-second shot to put it in overtime, and then we had a couple looks at it that didn't go down to win the game, great looks. So I think from that perspective, our guys are very, very aware, and just from the film sessions we've showed them, they understand how good Penn State is.
Just a comment on Newble, who we've seen.
Yeah, what a great player. I think that you're looking at a guy that scores the basketball so many different ways. It's hard to get a pattern on him. It's hard to get a read in terms of, hey, let's take this away, or he's going to do this 3 out of 4 times. He's very creative in how he gets his points, and they do a good job of trying to free him up and giving him angles to play off of.
One quick question on D'Angelo. Yeah, is there a line for you that, I mean, he obviously has to be on the floor for you to be at your best, but I mean, he's a freshman. You always hear about the freshman wall and everything, and he clearly is not hitting it right now. But do you pay attention to minutes, or are you just watching him?
No.
Or what? How do you handle that? If he said the cramping thing, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. But
right, we're watching it. I think from the standpoint of trying to get him a blow in the first half and a blow in the second half. What are we cutting back his practice? Not really. We may hold him back on a couple of defensive things or whatever, but we're aware of it and trying to figure out the cramping, to be honest with you, because we can't get a read on what it is. It's driving Vince crazy, but he's doing everything we're asking him to do in terms of preventing it.
pickle juice.
Yeah, that is something that's supposed to work, believe it or not.
We talked before the Rutgers game about how Matta had an opportunity, and he obviously made the best of that. What did you see out of his performance, and is that something that you expect could be a sustained boost off the bench?
I hope so, because I think Matta has shown us flashes of what we want from him. The fact that he was very assertive, very aggressive as he came in the game the other night, not only scoring but rebounding the basketball. Those are things. He's so long. He's longer than people probably think, so he can deflect passes and block shots. But no, hopefully that gives him a boost of, hey, I'm ready to go, and because he's a very intelligent kid and understands what we need him to do.
I've kept forgetting to ask you this, but I think it's been since, well, it was at the Iowa game too, but that's for another reason. Since Anthony's been starting, Sam's been jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just because Sam jumps higher than Anthony, or what?
Yeah,
okay.
It is. Yeah,
I figured that out by myself.
Yeah, I always tell the guys, I say, throw it real high, please, because he'll get it. So, yeah. All right, guys.